to my channel. So today is a new, I wouldn't say new and improved, but I would say like a new turn of events, a new platform, um, a new something, something like that, Sha. So guys, welcome to Reflection with Char. If you're new to my channel, my name is Charlene, and this is my channel. It's Miss Char. Welcome to the platform that is It's Miss Char. Just a little bit of a background on really just everything. So I have been on YouTube for like about 3 years, I think, coming up to 3 years, and to be fair, I've been battling with like consistency and stuff like that. And obviously I think it's important to talk about this, because obviously like this topic is I'm talking about giving up is easy to do, because there's times when you go through something or you go through a journey and you just want to give up. And I'm one of those people, yeah, if I feel like I cannot do this, if I feel like I can't be bothered, if I feel like an overwhelmed feeling to run away, I'm one of those people that be like, I just want to give up, I don't want to do it anymore. It's not necessarily like, it's not a thing whereby like I just don't know, like I actually genuinely find it hard to sometimes I find it genuinely hard to continue doing something. So that's why I wanted to speak on this, because I'm sure that there's people as well that have been through it and are going through it, and they want to also kind of learn and know how to advance as well. So I just wanted to obviously again jump on here and talk to you guys about giving up is easy to do. So again, going back to what I was saying, so I've been on this platform on YouTube for like 3 years now, and you know, it's been one of those journeys whereby you just feel like okay, I just can't be bothered. You know, when you see other YouTubers and it looks easy, especially in this day and age, you know, like a lot of people would jump. I think around the time that I jumped on, a lot of people were jumping on, and then after a while, it was just kind of like, do you know what? I just can't be bloody bothered, mate, because like, you see how people would just be doing story times about the reckless thing they were doing in their lives, and they will get like thousands of views in like a week or a month and stuff like that, and you just feel like, okay, so what is it that I'm doing wrong? Because I don't understand. Like, is it because like my mouth is thinking? Is it because maybe I have one hair that's sticking out like this? Like, what is the problem? So for a long time, like I'm just using YouTube as an example. For a long time, I used to just kind of like battle with the fact with giving up, and always feeling like giving up, even to this day. Like even just the other day, I just feel like I just can't be bothered with all the things that I'm doing. Like honestly, I just said, you know what? Like I feel like there's so many reasons as to why I just want to just not keep going. And I think it's just it's one of those things where you just feel like I don't know what I should do. You know, you get to a place where you're like, how should I maneuver? How should I strategize to ensure that I'm doing whatever means necessary to ensure that this particular thing is running smoothly, or this particular area is absolutely splendid? How can I work on myself but still put my mind in a place where I'm being consistent with what I'm doing and I don't get derailed? Because there's many a times when you just feel like I just can't be bothered. But the thing is, you know, I wasn't always like this. Actually, let me be frank. I say that I'm one of those people, but I wasn't actually always like that. I haven't always been a person to just want to give up. I think even with like growing up, I used to be very determined young lady. Like I knew what I wanted from life, and I knew how I wanted to get there. I said I was going to study this in uni, I was going to study this in school, and this, and then this is how I'm going to do things, and this. And I think really when life was throwing lemons at me, I was letting the lemon juice enter my eye, and I started crying instead of making lemonade. You know what I'm saying? So I let the experiences of life to get me down. But there are experiences and things that I've personally been through that I actually persevered through. But I think maybe I took those experiences for granted and didn't apply it to how I can apply it now. So one of those experiences, right, was so in like high school. And also, like, as you're watching, share your experiences, tell me what you're thinking. Don't just watch, but also let's chit chat, let's get it popping. And I always, as we're doing this reflection with Tara, I also want to encourage you guys to get your snacks and whatnot. I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I'm endorsing their drink. Do you know what I mean? So Rubicon has a new drink called Raw. It's Raw Energy, right? And it's the orange and mango flavor. It's Rubicon. So I'm just endorsing you, Rubicon. At this point, if you watch this video, I'm endorsing you. You might as well endorse me. You might as well. Do you know what I mean? So it's actually really nice, and I had it last night, but I feel like I need it in a point where like I actually need, you know, that boost during the day. So I've just been drinking this. So yes guys, this is my little drink for today. But you guys grab your snacks, grab your drinks, grab your everything, grab your grandma, grab your cat, and tune in. Do you know what I mean? So I was just sharing my experience, a life experience where I actually had to keep going and persevering when I actually really wanted to give up. And I was just speaking on how I think I took those experiences for granted because they will really, really help me now, because I think I allowed that particular experience in my life to break me down to become that person that just doesn't want to, like, when I go through stressful times, I just don't want to go through them. But this experience, I was in high school, and of course, as I've openly said that I've had like a relationship at a young age and whatnot. And obviously we did curricular activities. Okay, if you know, you know. We did curricular activities, and obviously at that particular age or at that particular time, it was actually kind of seen as like a bit of a taboo, or a bit of like like, really? Is that what you're doing? So yeah. So obviously, like, I think I confided in like one friend or maybe two friends that, okay, like, this is what we did, and no. Because obviously, not obviously to justify it, but you know, as a young person, like, you want to just share your experiences and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, girl, I did that. Oh my God. But, 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 like, I think that was my mistake anyways. And then the guy that I was seeing, he had the mouth of, you know, taps. When you switch on a tap, his mouth was like a tap, honestly, because I don't know who he told or who he confided in or whatever. But let's just say, long story short, that news spread across to everyone. When I say everyone, I mean every single person in my year, in the year above, in the year below, knew about our activities, knew what we had done, right? And this was maybe like a very pivotal and very, very detrimental, well, not detrimental, very pivotal and very important time in my life, where I don't want to say particularly which year of high school, because I feel like you people will do calculations, because you lots are nosy. You will watch my videos and you'll do calculations. But let's just say it was a very, very important time in my high school experience. And so everybody, literally, there would not be a class I would go into and I wouldn't be mocked, or I wouldn't be spoken about, or people wouldn't whisper and stuff. And I was just like, I don't understand, because I had a lot of information on everybody, like what they were doing and stuff. Not necessarily that I would gossip about them, but obviously, you know how like in school, like, news travels so quickly, especially my high school. Something will happen like now, and 20 minutes later, like half of the year would know about it, right? So So it's a case where like people were looking at me like, oh my God, like, ugh, like, oh my God, like, but it was a case whereby even them themselves, like they had their own, they had their own skeleton in their own closets, right? But because obviously everybody was whispering, like for a good long time, it was a topic for a long time, and there was not a time where somebody wouldn't mention it or say something, or people wouldn't try and take advantage. Do you know what I mean? And it was really hard to go through such an important time of my life in school and be faced with all of that, and especially because my parents didn't, at that point in time, my parents didn't actually know what was going on. So was just telling my mom, like, I don't know if I want to go to school anymore, like I'm tired. But mind you, like I still managed to, I can't, like, like anxiety and depression developed, but like I still kept going to that school, and I still went to class. Like my attendance was high, you know. I was like over 95%. I used to go to school like all the time, literally. Like even though people were whispering about me, even though people were talking about me, even though they had a lot to say, especially because it was a predominantly white school. So, you know, when you're colored, they tend to, you know, have a lot to say anyways. So there was so many contributing factors as to why people were talking about me, because number one, I was the only proper black girl in my whole year. I was actually the proper black person in my whole year. And like, of course, again, it was a taboo at that point in time. So people had a lot to say. And obviously, like, I feel like I might share a lot more of my high school experience now thinking about it. But anyways, so despite people having a lot to say and the attitudes and even friends as well, that they just kind of like, oh, I don't want to be associated, but baby girl, like, let's be frank, if I open your nash, do you know what I mean? Like, it was really like that. But I never looked at other people and be like, oh, but it's you and you do this too. I never looked at people and thought that. But it hurt a lot that it was coming from people who I actually cared about, and it came from friends. Like, some people didn't want to associate with me because people were talking about me. Some even ended up being friends with those people that were talking about me. Some even became best friends, like literally. So it was painful. It was a very, very painful experience, because like nobody wants to go through high school like that. But I suppose it taught me a lesson, and I'm upset that I didn't really take that up. I let it break me down rather than actually taking on board throughout the course of my life, because when I go through something overwhelming, I tend to want to run away. And I think it's because of experiences like that. Like that particular experience like made me feel like, even though I went through it, I still did my exams, I still did my GCSEs, and I still passed. I never let it get in the way of me actually achieving what I wanted to achieve. But I think because of what built up from that experience, like the anxiety, this being scared and stuff, it followed me further into like my adult years. So so now it's like, anytime I think about advancing, anytime I think about getting ahead, it's like, no, darling, do you know what I mean? Like, no, I rather step away from it. I rather not face, what kind of English am I speaking? I rather not face up to it. And I think it's just because of experiences like that, where there's always, like, I just don't understand personally, like, it actually, that's an experience I think I can look back on and be like, do you know what, I can actually hold on to that and be like, I actually fought to like get through school. I wanted to leave, I wanted to give up, I didn't want to keep going, I didn't want to again face up to it. But it gave me a better understanding of how people can be. And even that can be a contributing factor. Like, people can literally make you feel like you don't want to keep going, especially when you just want to do what you're supposed to do. But people make you feel like like, people can make you feel like, listen, like, gosh, guys, bear with me. So what I'm saying is, people can make you feel like you're in the wrong. They can make you feel like you're the issue, so you eventually feel like giving up. Or even yourself, you can be your own biggest enemy and stand in your own way of advancing because you want to give up. And this is something that I'm learning, that you can't just turn away from something because you're faced with adversity. Adversity. Is that adversary or adversity? It's adversity. When you're faced with adversity, or when you're faced with issues or circumstances or trouble or people laughing at you or talking about you, like, I'm learning, even though despite that experience I still went through it, blah blah blah, but I'm still learning. Do you understand? I'm still learning, I'm still growing. And one thing I realized is that giving up is the easy route out. Like, I was faced with a circumstance right now where I was actually faced with the decision to give up or not. And I really thought to myself, like, if I give up, like, let me be realistic as to what my life will be like if I step away from something, from this particular thing. I asked myself, like, I've tabled all the reasons as to why I want to give up, right? I've tabled every single thing that I felt like justified me giving up. Like, I felt like, do you know what, this is a good reason. I don't have to face this. Do you know what? I'm a young girl. I'm a young girl. I don't have to face these people. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the problem? But, but I also tabled what my life would be like if I step away, because you also have to be realistic as well. If you're in a place whereby you're actually developing as a human being and you're actually being molded and shaped into who you're meant to be and who God wants you to be, right? Why would you let certain circumstances that actually can be dealt with make you step away or substitute your glory? It's amazing. It took me 17 minutes to get to this point where I'm actually making sense. But anyways, so why should you feel like you need to substitute your glory or substitute what God has placed in you or given you the opportunity to do, to be able to advance as a human being, as a person, as his daughter, as his son, as a father, as a mother, as a sister, as a friend, as a business person, an entrepreneur, maybe you're a nurse, a lawyer. God has placed something in you. You want to substitute it because of circumstances that can be dealt with. I think another reason why people want to give up is because they always battle with their mind. Listen, the mind can be a very scary place, especially your own mind. That's why at times it can be so easy to step away from something, because you've told yourself that you cannot face it, you cannot achieve it, you cannot advance, you cannot develop. But understand that you are obviously an individual. You're made in his image, after his likeness. Do you know what I mean? But you have to understand that if God has given you a vision, wait, I want to quote my spiritual father here, but I don't want to get it wrong, so I'm just going to rephrase what he said. Is, you know, God can give you a vision. Like, there's things that my spiritual father says, which is, you know, like, he's only a vessel that God is using, and the vision that God has given him is bigger than himself. So therefore he always has to constantly ask for the grace, or the grace that's made sufficient for him to keep going and do what the Lord has asked him to do, which is basically the point I'm trying to make. I hope I made that rephrase was right. But which is the point I'm trying to make, is that sometimes when God has given you something to do, it's not always just about you and you achieving your dreams and you making money for yourself. It can actually impact somebody else who God wants to use you to touch their life. And when you have that vision, You yourself, you can be like, God, I want to give up, I don't want to do this. But think of it like this: you substituting your glory, or you substituting what you want to do, can actually be detrimental to somebody else's life, that the person who you're meant to be touching, the person who you're meant to be blessing. If you think about it like that, it kind of brings a new perspective in your life. There are people who are looking up to you and want you to succeed so that they have a glimpse of hope in their own lives. Or you can think of it like this: you are just a vessel who God wants to use, but he wants you to rely on him to keep going, or wants you to rely on him, to hold on to him, so that you can advance or develop as a human being. But you also have to understand that in giving up, you're giving all the people that are laughing at you, you're giving all the people who are looking down on you, really the ammunition to continuously shoot you down. Because there are people, like for me, because obviously of those certain experiences that I've been through throughout my life, because I then developed into this person who just gives up when things become bad. People actually looked at me like, okay, we'll just see how it goes with her, because she never really sticks to anything. She always just gives up. So we'll just see. And so even when I became serious with like ministry, a lot of people were like, huh, really? Because when obviously I started doing this church thing, ministry, oh my gosh, everybody was like, okay, let's just see how it goes. So when I was becoming more and more like consistent with talking about God and my experiences and this and that, like nobody saw it coming, because they always saw me as a person who easily gives up, easily gets tired of things, easily just feels like, I just don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want to face it anymore. I just don't want to continue. So I painted that image to people. And so when I actually bring forth like a project forward, it's like, okay, we'll just see what happens. So because I get that, we'll just see how it happens. And I wasn't motivating myself to do what I said I would do. Of course, like, you're going to get that kind of reception because you've painted that picture in people's eyes. And, you know, a lot of people, like, will then eventually just be like, do you know what, she will never amount to anything in life, because you've painted that picture to them. Or people just naturally just feel like you won't, because they've already kind of deemed you as that person, or they've kind of deemed you as you're not going to develop further in life. So what I'm basically trying to say is, there's so many reasons as to why you feel like giving up. There's so many things that you feel like you can use to justify why you want to give up. But in giving up, again, you're just letting yourself down. Let's just put it simply like that. When you give up, you let yourself down. You let God down, because he has this hope and destiny and future and vision that he set aside for you, that he wants you to achieve. But if you're always constantly giving him excuses as to why you can't, and then you eventually take your hand off the plow, you're letting God down. Let's put it like that. You're letting God down, because this is a word for the wise. You are born by yourself. You're going to go by yourself. So you've got to keep going, even if it's just you alone in that journey. But just understand that God has never left your side, even from the time that you were conceived. He's never ever left your side. He's never ever let you down. He's always ensured that, you know what, my daughter, my son, you can trust in me. You can hold on to me. You can believe that I will get you through this. But in terms of holding on to people and what they have to say and their words and whatnot, you're born by yourself and you're gonna go by yourself. So, so just to encourage you guys that, trust me, I understand. A lot of people feel like, oh, Charlene, like, you've got this together. I really bloody don't at all. I don't bloody have anything together. I'm only just growing. And these are some of my experiences and things that I've been through to get to this point in my life where to build a greater future, to allow to what am I trying to say? To build a better future or to become a greater person, giving up is not an option anymore. It's giving up is easy to do, but it's not an option. It's easy to do, the easy way out, but it's just simply not an option. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. I don't know, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and God bless you whatever time you watch this video, morning, noon, or night, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.